Hey friends, tickets are now available for our new series of live workshops taking place in November and December. They're focused on getting coffee professionals and small business owners better prepared for 2023. There's one for coffee professionals, one for those looking to start or grow their business as a coffee consultant, and there's one for customer acquisition planning that's tailored to small business owners. Go to mapitforward.coffee/events to grab tickets or check the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and today I'm honored to have Nolan Hirte on the podcast with me. Nolan, we are fellow Australians and we're sort of pseudo-fellow Americans as well. We've both been on quite the wild ride, but welcome to the podcast. So this is going to be a really, really wonderful conversation. We bumped into each other at MICE and we had for me, it was kind of out of this world conversation. It felt like we were in the middle of something, but had kind of left the space.
Maybe a healing moment. I feel like we kind of had, Lee. It was really, because I'm sure it was a lift for you, but it was also, it was a big release for me as well. It was nice to kind of connect like that and reconnect maybe, it's cool.
5 seconds into the conversations is already tears in my eyes, but I suspect this is going to be one of those really wonderful conversations where we can bring everybody else into the experience that we had and kind of talk openly about some things that have happened in our experience in the industry. Now, the theme of this 5-part series is business is going to teach you everything you never wanted to know about yourself, which is kind of, this is the thing that I tell all my consulting clients. And I don't know how it is and how it was for you. Is that the experience you have with business?
Learning about myself, you mean?
It shows you everything you never really wanted to know about yourself.
Well, yes, I guess it has done that. It's taken a minute to get to that, but it's done that. I mean, the only thing I'd say to that is I kind of welcome that. As horrible as it sounds to learn stuff that you didn't want to learn, or maybe going to the dark cave. That's where the gems are. They're in the dark cave, and so you kind of have to explore that. And I think if anything, the business side of things for me was probably spurring me on to stay out of the cave. I was trying to use the business as a form of medication so that I didn't have to face whatever it was that was chasing me. And to be fair, I didn't know that there's anything chasing me either. I just kind of I'd always felt like that I should always be busy. And I felt like I have to keep myself busy. If I have too much time, I'll think too much and get depressed. And that's kind of a weird thought in itself, right? Like it's actually really nice to stop, and it's really nice to relax, and I shouldn't feel shame about that, So it's been good to learn that taking time out and having some quiet time is totally okay,
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, which I'm sure there's nobody that's listening to this that doesn't know who you are, but do you want to just give people a quick background about what we're going to end up alluding to through this conversation?
Background from I'm Nolan Hirte, the founder of Proud Mary, with my wife Shari Hirte. I've been working in coffee for 25 years now, which is like a long time. And so it's funny, I feel like I used to be the young guy at COE panels and all these different events. And now when I show up, I'm like, dang, when did I become the old guy? But I have been around for a while, and definitely someone that's really enjoyed pushing the boundaries of what coffee can be and how far can we take it, and is there an audience for it? And so far I haven't met an audience that hasn't been into it. It's been a lot of fun.
You've got stores in Melbourne and
Yeah, so
Portland
we
and in
started in
Austin.
Melbourne. Yeah, Melbourne, in Collingwood. 2009 we opened up.
Yep.
And 2017 we opened up in Portland, Oregon, and then Austin we just opened up 6 weeks ago. So it's been quite the journey, and yeah, a lot along the way to kind of celebrate and to like learn from, and but super cool to still be here, and still in the industry and in a completely new city and environment, and with a whole new audience. I feel a little bit like Peter Pan. I feel it feels like I'm back in Melbourne 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah,
And I've got
wow.
this amazing audience that really appreciates food. They love hospitality. They get service. So I've got some amazing staff working for us. And yet they haven't quite seen what we're doing in the way that
Yeah.
presenting it, and in terms of all the different coffees, the different brewing methods, but then also the restaurant format. It's not common to have all of those things like we would take for granted all day long in Australia.
Yeah.
Didn't quite make it around the rest of the world. Definitely in some places, and particularly the US, it's not common. So
No, not at all.
so much fun to be able to share what it is that we love about the industry. With a new audience. Yeah.
And Austin's such an exciting city. It's one of my favorite cities in the US. It's one of the most open-minded cities I've ever visited in the world, particularly in the US. So
Yeah.
it's the perfect place for Proud
I love
Marys to be.
it. It's so cool. And over the years, I'd always people would always ask what makes Melbourne so special. Like, why is Melbourne coffee what's so special about it? Why is it so good? And my response all those years was, well, actually, it's not the roasters, it's not the baristas, it's the customers. We
Yeah.
have the best customers in the world, and they just fully appreciate quality, and they don't give a shit about the sign and the deal. They just want quality, and they want something genuine and authentic. And we were able to build a business off that, which is so nice to be able to build a business off quality, and it really was to do with the support from the Melbourne clientele. And I think that is what I'm really enjoying about Austin also, is like-minded people, and people are happy here. They're very fit and healthy, and there's plenty of sunshine here. And
Zero
so
fucks given.
my
So
yes, I'm funny again here. My sense of humor lands here. I wasn't as funny in Oregon, I'll be
I was
honest.
same in California, man. Same thing for me. It
Mm,
was like nobody really understands sarcasm.
right.
They just think you're an asshole when you're being
Yes.
sarcastic.
Yeah. Did you just say that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because when the pandemic hit and I was in California and California went to shit, it was either I'm going to Austin or I'm going back home.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I totally get why you moved there.
We moved during the pandemic, and it was such a great move. Like the kids could go to school again in
Yeah.
person. We got to you get to choose your own battles here. Didn't feel like we were being judged for whether we're wearing a mask or not. You really got to make up your own mind on that, which was nice
I
because
can
everyone had a
imagine.
different level of comfort. Yeah.
So,
So nice to be here.
what would you say is your kind of philosophy about coffee?
Hmm. Um, I've really loved trying to explore how good coffee can be, and so
Mm.
I really jumped down the rabbit hole of like, well, what are all the little different things that I can make it better? I along the way got to learn how many people are involved in the industry, just how big the industry is, um, how hard it is to produce coffee, how much risk is involved, and like specialty coffee, like or really special coffee,
mm-hmm.
has to do with the love that people put into it,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily the money maker, and it's not necessarily about that. It's definitely about sharing this like beautiful produce that grows on the planet, and the more special coffee that I've found has been grown in the most beautiful environment, and birds, 300 species of birds, deep, rainforest kind of environment, so diverse, so much biodiversity, and so much kind of like nature at its finest, and that is what ultimately makes the most amazing coffee. And from there, it's really like, how do we take care of it? How do we preserve it? How do we not mess with what nature has given us?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, how do we share that in a way that brings that to people's attention? Why is it so special? Why are you trying to charge so much for it? Why should this drink be celebrated the way that you want to celebrate it? Like um, I really love challenging people's perception on what coffee is and what it can be. And I mean, I found my own kind of hunger for it and burning desire for it through traveling and through seeing just how hard it was. And it was really a heartbreaking moment, honestly, that's what it was that
Really?
made me realize, yeah, it was kind of like, this is really sad. There was um, 12 of us picking coffee cherries for 4 hours in the beating down sun in Sumatra, looking over Lake Takinon, really high up, high altitude, deep. So it's kind of hard to be comfortable standing,
Mm.
trying to pick coffee cherries. 12 of us for 4 hours in the sun came back with a total of like 12 kilos of cherry. By the time that was processed down, it ended up to about 2 kilos of green coffee. By the time you roast that, it's a kilo and a half.
Mm.
That's 12 of us, 4 hours. One girl on her own picks 70 kilos a day and gets $1 for it. And when I kind of like realized that and did that math, and especially after experiencing that, like,
Yeah.
just the pick, that's just the picking part of it.
Yeah.
There's so much more to coffee than just picking
Yeah.
the coffee cherry. But for that to be $1 for a day's work, and then, man, all these steps that went into it before it even arrived to us in Australia or the
Mm.
US, just blew my mind that so many people have had to put in all this intense amount of work to get me this small amount of coffee.
Yeah.
And then the next week, this is that we had Liar Liar. This is before Proud Mary. We had Liar Liar in Hawthorne, and in walks this customer, and she's like, $3.20. I can get coffee for $2.80 in Balaclava. And I'm like, well, you know what you can fucking do?
Fuck off
You
and
can
go
go to
buy it there.
Balaclava. Yeah, and you can go drink that shit all day long, because where does that come from?
Exactly.
You don't know. They
Well,
don't
they
know.
don't
They don't
probably
fucking
know.
care.
Yeah.
No, they don't care.
Yeah.
And we're here trying to make a difference. You're going to have to pay for it, and it's worth it. Trust me, because there's real people behind this. And so I very quickly realized, like, I had this kind of light bulb moment where I'm like, well, man, I really have to throw everything I got at this. And it looks like competitions. It looks like becoming famous. It looks like interviews and conversations, and trying to lead the industry in a positive direction so that others will follow. And it's been such a gift to have that burning desire. Like, it's been such an amazing gift
Yeah.
to wake up and be like, well, I know what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to go do it. And, it's so cool to, yeah, to feel like a purpose, in life. And I guess the last few years that got challenging. Got like, hang on, what is it I'm doing again? And the whole world shutting down, and it was so we've been through a lot,
That there's this kind of gift that you get when you realize, because I don't, like, I talk to people who are like, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I think, and I often say to them, it's not one of those things you can like decide you want to become. You're either gifted this weird kind of ability to know that you can execute and be comfortable with the discomfort that's going to come with all of that.
Man, you know what, like, 100%. And I have so many like hard memories of getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Being so exhausted and having like a newborn in those days. So exhausted, very little sleep, my body just aching.
Yeah.
Getting in the shower and just talking myself out of it, just talking to myself and going, you got this, go do it. You have to do this.
You say the same thing.
This is what's going to make it all happen.
Yeah,
this is how
it's
you
worth
win.
It. You got this. Yeah.
And I pushed myself through pain for years to kind of like to build something or to make something happen. And I don't know that I can do that these days, and I don't need to do that these days, but
right.
But I definitely had to do that to make it work, and I had to do that to be the entrepreneur. Man, I worked my fucking ass off, and I never had a problem sharing, because I would always say to people, I'm like, dude, it's an open book. Whatever you want to learn from me, you're welcome to learn. Yeah, because it's not easy, and if you've got the guts to go out and do what I'm doing right now, I'm gonna 100% back you, because it really is just a lot of hard work and dedication and passion.
And a lot of people underestimate exactly what that means.
Totally. It was irritating how many people would say, I want to do a restaurant. And my I'm going to hire a manager. I'm like, oh, that's great. But,
yeah, good for you, bro.
I would think about why do you want to do that? Make sure you really want to, because it doesn't, you don't get to turn off when you want to turn off. You kind of you're on.
All the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
And it's the difference between, like, there's easy hard work and then there's hard work. And the hard work is like, you've been working 16 hours, you go home to have dinner, and then you realize, fuck, I'm not going to have time to go to sleep. I have to keep working until I got to be back processing Elixir in the, at the warehouse.
And now, and these days, back when it started, like Liar days, that was, I remember
exciting.
Blogs happening, and people started like going online and making comments. And we're like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
And it was really cool at first, because like, wow, we're internet famous. And then you read these like harsh reviews.
Oh, we're going to talk about that shit for sure in a future episode.
It really hurts, because like, actually, I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm busting my balls so hard.
Yeah,
that,
and I'm not getting paid.
I'm sacrificing. I haven't seen my kids. I haven't seen the wife. I'm putting everything I can in, yet you want to make a comment about it, not whatever. And I probably will politely respond to some I've seen recently, where to the point that the way I'm seeing it now is, man, if you don't like what it is that we're doing, or you have a bad experience, man, I'm not going to charge you. I don't want you to pay for something that you didn't like.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me know, and let me make it right. And if I can't fix it, man, it's like,
have your money back, 100%.
Please, because we're all about smiles, and trying to have good times. But not communicating that you're having a bad time and going out there and spraying it, that's rough. Ultimately, I'm trying to teach the staff that connection with the customer is so key, so that you can catch if there's an issue. If we're not connected with the people that we're serving, and it becomes just a job, that's where stuff slips through the gaps. And sometimes someone can be having a bad experience and no one's even paying attention. So it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of
so much
to put your heart and soul into that and not take it personally. You know, it's a lot.
Well, we're going to wrap up this episode, and in the next episode, we're going to talk about shit that goes wrong when you go on this journey of becoming an entrepreneur. Buckle up, kids. This is going to get a lot more interesting. All right. Peace, love, and peanut butter, everybody. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, friends. There are 2 ways you can support this podcast. Firstly, become a paid member of our YouTube channel. Secondly, you can join our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video before you leave, and check the show notes for more information. Now, this is what you should check out next.